Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akabin101, and welcome to part 2 of our series where we're trying to get a higher MMR. We're going to attempt it anyway. We are against a 1005 MMR opponent. Teostra, a fellow Monster Hunter player. He's probably going to destroy me. Let's find out. Alright, what are we going to go with? What do we have? Usually we have something in here that I typically like. I like Fang Stormcrawler a lot, especially Supply Specialist is pretty good. Giant Spec I'm not too worried about. I'm going to go with Supply Spec. Let's do that. Get an extra 50 supply per turn, or per round rather. They have a fair amount of Crawlers and Mustangs, which will handedly deal with my Fangs, unfortunately. But that's okay, we can definitely manage. Let's go ahead and set ourselves up here and see where we're at. Get our Fangs up and running. I do love Fangs. I like picking groups that typically utilize my core army, which is usually going to be Fangs at some point or another. On top of this, they do have quite a lot of chaff. I think going for Arc Lights here would be a very strong play. And let's pull them wide here. And I think that'll be okay. We have an extra 50, but we're going to end deployment. They go for double marksman. This should be relatively okay for now in the early stages of the fight, as my Fangs are going to take hits from the marksman. Mustangs are more centralized here, and of course we have the Crawlers. There's a dense pack in the center, but my unfortunate Storm Crawlers here, which I call Sledgehammers all the time, I don't know why, they're going to be targeting the outskirts, the outer Crawlers first, before moving in on these Mustangs. The Mustangs will slowly chew through the Arc Lights, as even though the Mustangs don't particularly do a ton of damage per shot, I don't have an armor upgrade for my Arc Lights, so the damage can definitely go through. Also, it's going to be nice and give them a little GLHF. Subsidized Stormcrawlers, I never usually get more than 2 Stormcrawlers, and I usually leave them at level 1 for the entirety of the match. Laser Sight could be very beneficial to us, so I'm going to hold on to this for now, as I do really like seeing that there. How did my guys do? Looks like this bottom right Arc Light is killing it, so we're going to give him extra range. And in the meantime, we do have 2 marksmen to deal with. Obviously, we won that last round. 3 sets of Fangs is really solid so far. And I'm not sure how we're going to really deal with these Mustangs over time. Let's see what kind of options we have here. As, again, we don't get that Rhino at tier 3, or round 3, excuse me. So we have to think about our options here. I think going for potentially 3 more Arc Lights and then transitioning into potentially Phoenixes could be very strong. Of course, also grabbing a couple Crawlers to kind of go on the outskirts here could be very beneficial to us. And I think we have the option to get a fair amount of EXP on our Arc Lights. So let's go ahead and do mass recruitment. And let's grab 3 sets of Arc Lights here. And let's front load our left side for the moment. And I think that'll be okay. We'll grab Crawlers, and potentially next round, we'll see how this goes. Massive clumps in the middle. We have lots of steel balls. This means Phoenixes will be a fantastic choice after this. Very likely we will lose this, as our opponent is using anti-sentry missile turrets. I forget what they actually call those. They're like sentry turrets. And as you can see, they are chewing through just a few of our Stormcrawlers missiles here as they attempt to hit their wondrous snipers here. And they do persist if they don't get destroyed, which is very nice. So they, of course, won the east side pretty handily, and let's be honest, on the left side, they did a pretty good job dismantling most of my troops. I was expecting as much after seeing the steel balls there as a very strong play. I was thinking of maybe going with Sledgehammers, and now that I've seen what's happened here, I'm very happy we didn't go with Sledgehammers, as they would have been absolutely trounced by steel balls, which have a laser that goes out. They're basically void rays from StarCraft 2. The beam comes out, and over a period of time, it does more and more damage. And of course, when you have multiple of them hitting one big target at the same time, very deadly and dangerous to deal with. All right. Ooh, Elite Hacker is pretty nice. And of course, extended range on arc lights would be pretty dope as well. We also have portable shields. But I do want to go for Phoenixes, so perhaps we will avoid the damage increase on arc lights. And I do feel like their range is relatively good for now. So let's go ahead and skip this turn. We're going to grab Phoenixes to deal with those steel balls. And we should have enough for 3 because it'll cost 600. So we'll go mass recruitment and 1, 2, 3. Let's get set up here. We'll do a vertical array. And hopefully this works out okay. Obviously they do have Mustangs, but I think we can handle it. No problem. Excellent. In the meantime, they are heavy armor specialists, which is interesting. So that could be really, really devastating to us. So let's go ahead. Let's grab a couple sentry missiles, which should hopefully help deal with these steel balls as they push up here. They're going to go for their own sentry missile, wiping out a full squad of Fangs, leaving my Stormcrawlers, unfortunately, wide open for damage. But I don't think it's the end of the world. As long as we can clear a decent chunk of their chaff, it should be okay. Our Phoenixes will move out on the left side first, and then push out into the steel balls. But of course, in this case, the Mustangs are going to get shots on them first. But that's okay. I'm going to build more Phoenixes. That's going to be the key theme here. More and more Phoenixes, which will feel really, really good. Alright, so those two centralized sentry missiles really did help. Of course, it did cost us a fair amount of resources. 100 resources is, well, early on, not the greatest. We can grab intensive training, which will be really nice for bolstering a core army here. I think we're going to go for it. Let's go for intense training, shall we? Allows us to level up a unit. Just like so. We're going to use it on this lovely arc light here. Now, we're not going to do anything with that quite yet because I do want to get more Phoenixes. So we're going to go ahead, grab mass recruitment. 1, 2, 3. 3 more Phoenixes. And then soon, we'll start transitioning into more tech plays. So hopefully that'll work out. So we're going to have a tight squad on the right and a wide squad on the left. Hopefully this works out in our favor. Let's end deployment here. Potential flanks. Nope, nothing yet. Looks like they went for rapid resupply, so they're going to go into debt. They're going to lose 300 resources on the next round. The reason they did that is most likely to upgrade these Mustangs, which Mustangs, as they level, can be quite devastating. No major tech upgrades at the moment on those Mustangs, but we might be able to deal with this. Of course, the Mustangs are coming in now and doing damage to our Phoenixes, so this may not work out in our favor. Could be more beneficial to us if we position more sentry turrets in the center there, and perhaps even got more in the lines of chaff. Although, I'm not too sure. I think a couple rhinos might even be really, really critical here to deal with the steel balls. Actually, that's not true, because steel balls would probably just absolutely rip right through them. I'm not too sure. It's probably because I've moved my Phoenixes to the east and west side here. Ion Blast sounds really nice, actually, and it would do much in the way of ripping through their centralized squads. But we do have a healthy amount of units to deal with. I'm going to skip it for now. I don't think I want to deal with it. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a skip. We're going to upgrade our arc lights for now. And I want to be able to deal with these steel balls a bit better. So we're going to increase the attack on our arc lights, as well as we're going to increase their range, which should give us a nice edge here. We're going to grab 2 more squads, or 1 more squad, excuse me, Phoenixes, and we're going to put them in the centralized spot to hopefully assist with any steel balls at the moment. On top of this, because this worked so well, we're going to go ahead and also go into debt. We're going to grab a couple sentry missiles just for the center here to help assist with these steel balls, because they do seem to rush right in and do a lot of damage. Ion is most likely going to come out here, so it could be very devastating for us. Let's help our western side with a shield and end deployment. Looks like it's not going out. Our opponent did not grab anything, and it looks like they're going for more of a supply route here with their heavy specialist. To be fair, though, I haven't really grabbed a whole lot either on my side. There we go. So the increased damage on our arc lights should assist quite healthily with our damage output. Of course, these Mustangs are going to come in here and rip apart that central Phoenix, but that's okay. Not the end of the world. The snipers are going to start getting some licks in on our Phoenixes, but that's okay. And that round was handled relatively well. I'm very surprised by that. overall. And now we can start getting maybe range upgrade or something along those lines. So we can decrease the cost of units by spending 200, but I don't think it's worth it. Orbital bombardment would be really nice here, so we're going to go ahead and grab orbital bombardment. And let's put it right here in a more centralized zone to hopefully hit those steel balls as they come down here. We also have intensive training, which we've probably had for quite some time now, but let's not worry about that part. Let's go ahead and upgrade this guy. Let's grab elite marksman, and once again, upgrade him again to a level 5 arc light. We're going to grab 1 sentry missile turret here. And let's see how this plays out. Now, I'm expecting giants or a flank coming in. I didn't really do anything to counter it. I'm just trying to beat it with this core army at the moment. I do wish I upgraded this arc light, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Let's go ahead and deploy. We have an orbital bombardment coming out, which could wipe out our phoenixes on the east side, and he is really trying to push to try and kill this level 5 arc light. Of course, doesn't know he's level 5. Got 2 levels in 1 round, thanks to that intensive training, which is absolutely insane. Fangs wiped out. 1 big hit on a level 1 arc light. A small hit on the level 5 arc light, but the range is absolutely insane, just wiping out massive squads and swaths of Mustangs here. Our sentry missile is still ready to go. Hasn't been activated yet. We do... Whoa! Out-sniping the sniper before it could get the Phoenix. And the Western Front looks like it's about to win its battle. Potentially. As long as the damage doesn't get too murdered over here. Oh boy, here we go. And the distractions are laid bare, and a surrender from Teostra, 1,000 MMR player. Teostra, thank you so much for a wonderful match, and thank you for all watching this mission. This is a lot of fun. I think my opponent definitely had a very strong core army. I think the steel balls were insane, absolutely annihilating tons of my ground units. But I think going for Phoenixes here was a great counter to the steel balls, as they can't shoot up. Sledgehammers also can't shoot up, but the steel balls are a really nice unit, and I find a lot of players like to mix steel balls or sledgehammers with Mustangs, as Mustangs, as they level up and become more powerful with those upgrades, they can be really, really dangerous, especially if you give them armor piercing here, which is an increase of 50% attack to their damage here. So it kind of negates any sort of units with armor upgrades and the like. I like to play my arc lights in a very aggressive manner, so I don't typically have them with any sort of armor upgrades. The way I see it for these guys, they're great at a very, very long range, and they can counter virtually anything. The thing is, they need levels to actually be able to push themselves into a good position here. And of course, we had 2 missions in a row, or 2 matches in a row, excuse me, where I used arc lights and phoenixes, but it's a very strong composition, and this mission itself, I feel, called for it. It made a lot of sense, and keeping our sledgehammers at low level was just nice because my opponent already had a lot of Mustangs, and he was even going for these sentry turrets, so I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want to spend any more resources on them, but they're just a great unit to rip apart shields or distract these other units here that are on the map, in case they ever decided to go for anti-missile, which they do have on their tech tree. A lot of people love Missile Interceptor. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it does outright counter Stormcaller missiles. However, what it does do as well is it pulls all damage from your Mustangs and applies it entirely to missile duty. So it doesn't really work out in the nicest of ways if you're planning on doing damage, but if you have other ways of handling that, obviously that's going to do a tremendous amount. I'm very surprised that this sentry missile in the center actually never got triggered, and it's probably thanks to these phoenixes and of course these arc lights that just absolutely carried here. Of course, this laser sight made this arc light the champion with 122,000 damage total, being the damage victor of the entire army on our side with 125 kills, and of course they're just ripping apart anything in its sights with 6,920 damage per shot. They are one-shotting these tier 1 steel balls, and then the tier 2, they're 2-shotting them, or maybe 3-shotting, but even better is that they're doing AoE. So absolutely insane. I love arc lights so much. They're so freaking strong. I'm surprised you haven't seen any flanks set. I would like to do some flank play in the future, but other than that, I'm Mechabellum 101. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're enjoying the content, and I'll see you all next time. Take care for now.